Okay, let's go over. This should be for E3 reading component or English 111. Okay. Chapter. Okay, let me do this. Let's go over. This should be for E. There we go. All right. So let us review, or not review, but talk about vocabulary for chapter 3, diet, a piece of cake. All right, let's go over the vocabulary sheet. We have a couple words here. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's go over atmosphere. Atmosphere. Okay, so atmosphere has several meanings. So remember the C word that we talked about in class several times, context. So a lot of words are used in context. That means they will have these words will have multiple meanings, many meanings. So atmosphere, you notice it has two meanings. Atmosphere is a feeling or mood or place, right? So if you went to the Middle Beast concert, okay, it had a certain atmosphere. If you go into Starbucks, it has a certain atmosphere. When you go into the university, when you enter the university, it has a certain atmosphere. When you go to a hospital, it has a certain atmosphere. When you go to the zoo, it has a certain atmosphere. It puts you in a certain mood of feeling. When you go to the airport, what type of atmosphere is in the airport? And what mood or feeling do you get out of as a result of being in the airport or being in the hospital? The best example is like a funeral home. If you go to a funeral home, it just has a certain atmosphere, right? It puts you in a certain mood. And then we have atmosphere as what we know in the sky above us with all the gases and nitrogen and oxygen and hydrogen, right? The atmosphere of Earth. In fact, astronauts, they go into the atmosphere, right? They go into that. Most astronauts go into the atmosphere. The last time we have been beyond, or an astronaut has been beyond the atmosphere has been decades. I believe the 70s, Apollo 11 was the last one to go to the moon. I believe Apollo 11. Might be wrong about that. Okay. So you notice the synonyms for mood is ambiance, right? Ambiance and atmosphere. They're close in meaning. The ambiance or the atmosphere of the restaurant put me in a very good mood or a mood to eat. The ambiance was nice. It makes me feel relaxed or happy. Okay. And then atmosphere, when we talk about gases, it could be air. Let's look at carbohydrate. Carbohydrates. Carbs, as you may know, are a series of basically sugars that we find in foods like breads and potatoes, and I think these things have carbs, right? These have carbs. Maybe they don't have carbs. Do they? I think they do. They should have carbs in this. But yeah, I know. It should have carbs. I believe it does. But normally, we're supposed to digest a certain amount of carbs, but not too many, because you had too many carbs, you can get fat, and there's a whole bunch of theories about this. But carbs can give you good energy, right? So if you're working out, people who work out eat a lot of carbs because it gives them energy. If you don't work out, you shouldn't eat a lot of carbs because that energy will turn into fat because you're not burning it off. All right. All right. So that's the reason why you shouldn't eat a lot of carbs if you're not working out. But if you do work out, eat a lot of carbs. It's good. It gives you energy. C, nutritious, 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 nutritious. Nutritious is something that is good for you, is healthy. We should eat foods that are nutritious. These are not nutritious. I like them a lot, but they're not nutritious. So I try to only eat a couple bags a year. But what foods are nutritious? You know, apples and meats and potatoes. If you have the certain amount, you know, especially sweet potatoes and you know, oatmeal. Even though some people say oatmeal is not that nutritious, but I have problems. But oatmeal, beans, navy beans, pinto beans, black-eyed peas. Beans are very nutritious. Liver, it's very good for people. Onions are nutritious. So any food that has a health benefit, we call nutritious. That actually provides our body with nutrients that helps us stay alive and healthy. All right, let's move on to D, element. Element is, again, can have multiple meanings, but normally when we talk about element, it's a part of a whole. So an element is a piece of something or a part of something or a feature or a variable or a component. You know, Messi is I believe he plays for Argentina, right? Messi is a major or essential element to the Argentinian team, right? Element, hydrogen is an element of water, right? H2O. Hydrogen and oxygen are elements of water. In fact, the periodic table are called elements. Okay, so an element is a part of a whole, something that is made up of an ingredient or something that's a part of a bigger or a component of something, an element. What was the element? What was the element that caused the car to crash? Might have been the roads were slippery. That would be an element, right? So now we move into a different kind of definition, but still with the idea as a part of a whole. The car crashed because of the slippery element on the ground. It could have been rain, it could have been oil, but that's an element of why, or one of the elements. Another element could have been the driver doesn't know how to drive in the rain, right? So if it's, so one element is that the roads were wet. Second element is that the driver doesn't know how to drive in the rain, right? Element. Additive. Additive is things, and this thing has a ton of additives, right? Look at all those ingredients, all those additives, corn, not corn, but artificial color. What's another one? Blue 2 Lake, red 40, yellow 5, blue 5, natural and artificial flavors. These are all additives that improve taste and allows the food to last longer. Sometimes we call them preservatives. From what I understand, we should not be eating foods with a lot of additives because they tend to be not nutritious and could be poisonous. So do not eat. Try to stay away from this junk. All right. Diabetes. Diabetes, we know, is a disease where your blood cannot regulate the sugar that you Blood cannot regulate sugar production. Okay. So it could be that you have too much sugar or too little sugar in your blood system, and it's the diabetes. And normally eating nutritious food can help prevent diabetes, exercise, but sometimes diabetes cannot be prevented because it's just, in some cases, just hereditary, meaning, it's just in your genes. It can be passed down from your family, okay? But often good exercise, living a good, healthy lifestyle will help you manage your diabetes if you happen to contract diabetes. In some cases, I hear people can even be cured from diabetes. I've heard that. Okay. Mineral is our natural substances that we eat, or that we can eat, that helps our body, that's nutritious for our bodies. So a mineral could be something like iron. What's another mineral? I can't think of it. So iron, you get minerals normally at the GNC or the vitamin store. All right, these are substances that are good for our bodies, good for certain organs in our bodies, minerals. Okay, they're very nutritious for us. So iron is one. There's another mineral. I can't think of another mineral right now. Iron. Having a brain cramp. But iron is a very important mineral, especially with people, especially for females. Men don't need as much iron. We tend to produce enough iron, but women tend to need to digest foods that are higher in iron and other minerals. Okay. Okay. Let's go well-rounded. Something or someone who is well-rounded, meaning they're very diverse. That one example, that's one of the reasons why we go to university. We go to university to become well-rounded, and that's what university stands for, to get universal knowledge, to get as much knowledge as possible. So remember, we talked in class about transfer, and that transfer is very important for inference. So being very well-rounded, well-rounded is important for us to utilize our higher order thinking skills, so we can infer and we can discern, and we can gain wisdom, and what we define as intelligence. Okay. All right. So that's the vocabulary from reading 1. All right. That's the vocabulary for reading 1. We might as well jump into reading 2. How about that? Yeah, let's jump into reading 2. All right. So let's look at dozens. Dozens are anything. Dozens normally mean 12. A dozen normally means 12. So if I get a dozen of eggs, that means I'm getting 12 eggs, or a dozen of donuts. That means I'm getting 12 donuts. So dozens would be more than 1 dozen. So you had 24, you have 2 dozens. All right. Often in language, when we say dozens, we normally mean a lot. We normally mean a lot. Okay. Yeah, so that's enough about dozens. I'm sorry. Let's see. Junk food. That's junk food. Food that's not nutritious. All right, not healthy. Okay, it's junk food. So carrots would not be junk food. Okay, but this is junk food. Overnight solution. An overnight solution means something that a quick fix, right? A quick fix, probably not the best solution, but it's a fast way to solve a problem. It's not typically not a permanent solution, but it's just a quick fix, a solution real fast. If your car broke down, you might have to take a clothes hanger and wrap something around and tap something and tape something. It's not going to be a permanent solution, but it's going to be a quick fix, or what we call an overnight solution. Physical fitness, as you know, is just staying healthy, making sure you do proper exercises to keep your heart rate up and make your muscles strong, so you can live long and have a healthy life. All right. Raise awareness. Raise awareness. Raise awareness is this is an expression used often. The expression used often to let people know that other people need to know about something. It's almost like a campaign that occurs. So when you run a campaign, you're raising awareness, letting people know that this is a serious issue, or this is something that they should know about so they can protect themselves or protect the community, or have information that can make them thrive and not suffer. All right, portion. Portion is almost like element, but it's a little bit different. Portion is, again, a part of a whole. But normally when we talk about portion, we normally talk about either how something is divided or eating a part of something. I'm going to only eat a small portion of the cake, right? Or how something is divided. I want my portion of the winnings, or I want my portion of the reward. Okay, or I want my portion of the gift that grandma gave us. Okay. Access, pretty easy, meaning you have the ability to touch something, grab something, utilize something. You have access to it. You can touch it, you can utilize it, you can use it. Access. Overweight means you normally bigger than what your BMI, your body mass index. So normally there's a BMI chart, and if you're over that weight limit for the BMI, they consider you overweight. All right, and then if you really overweight, really over the limit, they can consider you obese. So overweight means someone typically who surpasses the BMI index, the body mass index. Okay, consume has multiple meanings. Consume can mean to eat. Consume can mean also to utilize, or to use something. Or a buyer, you notice people who buy things are called consumers. Okay, consumers. These are people who buy things, and they're important to the economy, because when consumers stop spending, that's a normally indication that things are becoming financially weak. So we want consumers, people to buy. Sugary cereals. Sugary cereals, you know what they are: Fruity Pebbles, Frosted Flakes, basically all the cereals in the cereal aisle, with the exception of the nutritious ones that normally are oats and grains and granola. Everything else is pretty sugary. Even oats and grains can be sugary. So pretty much anything that you find in the supermarket, in the supermarket aisle under cereal, General Mills, and I can't think of the other companies. that sell sugary food cereals, Cocoa Puffs and Fruity Pebbles, and Cheerios wouldn't be considered a sugary cereal. That's more nutritious. But like I said, the Cocoa Puffs and Fruity Pebbles and Frosted Flakes and whatever the sugary foods are, cereals that kids go crazy for in the grocery store. Obese, again, I've already explained obese. Obese is someone who's way beyond their body mass index. Is considered obese. Sodium is a mineral. I was struggling to think of another mineral outside of iron, but sodium is a mineral that we use that we need in our bodies to survive. However, if we have too much sodium, we can have things like hypertension. Okay, or we can develop things like hypertension. All right. So that is your words. If you have any questions, ask me in class. We will talk to you soon.